What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I'm just fresh back from Huck's puppy class, and we're off to the dog park after I filmed these 2 or 3 videos, and I'm glad that you chose to tune in on a Saturday. I hope that today will be the day I earn your subscription. We're finally out of the YouTube gulag, and it appears that it's because so many of you mobilized and clicked that red subscribe button down below. So please keep doing that. Now, Star Wars is such a huge fandom that ultimately you're going to have sub-factions inside of the main fandom. And just like Star Wars, each of them have different political ideologies. There are conservative Star Wars fans. There are liberal Star Wars fans. That's not the groups of people that cause problems. It is the far, far left Star Wars fans that are a extremely vocal minority, a toxic group of the saddest individuals you will ever interact with that seems to have some amount of influence over Lucasfilm and Star Wars decision-making process. They continue to hire some people who might be very kind people who have just said and espoused some terrible ideas, some inflammatory, humanity type tweets, just awful humans, in my opinion, awful ideas. Maybe they spend their weekends at the soup kitchen, and that's great. But the reason they got popular is espousing just divisive, gross rhetoric. And over the weekend, I didn't even want to cover this story. I wasn't going to cover it when it originally broke because I'm just so sad for the Star Wars fandom that we have these type of people lording over us. These are the people that continue to get hired. These are the people that continue to divide the Star Wars fandom. We see the official Star Wars account tweeting out, "Our Star Wars community is one of hope and inclusivity." Disagree. "We do not stand for bullying and racism. We support Christina Ariel." Never heard of this individual. Apparently they host the High Republic show, the Star Wars High Republic show. And okay, congratulations. Never heard of you. So anytime somebody gets, into the highlight, what happens? The internet goes into their history and looks into them. And also, Star Wars, it was interesting. Where was this energy when Gina Carano was getting dogpiled by the vile people on Twitter? Where was that energy today when she's again trending with people demanding her cancellation for having her own independent thoughts? Where was that energy when you were shrinking a black man, John Boyega, on the movie poster for a Star Wars film so you could sell more tickets to communists in China? Where was that energy when you were cutting down John Boyega's role in the film? Where was that energy with Kelly Marie Tran, apparently? Where was that energy wishing, I don't know, the voice of Darth Vader a happy birthday on literal MLK Day? A black man? Star Wars is full of hypocrites. And where this all started, all of this started essentially with an article, I think, from Bounding into Comics. Newly announced Star Wars High Republic host calls all white people racist. Now, I believe that's what she's saying, but she's implying something very similar. This is a very, very common when you have these people that are just awful, who will say they want to be inclusive, but then say things like, let's see, "White people, effing stop it. Your racism won't save you. Your ignorance is not an excuse." Now, this is a statement that essentially calls all white people racist, or at minimum lumps all white people together. And this is a very simple way to show that this person is a divisive individual whose opinions are very, very poor. Replace white with black. Do you think you would have got a bunch of likes and retweets for that? When you lump a group of a race together, in particular, and disparage them That's literally the definition of racism. Now, I'm not taking this new NU definition of words. I'm talking about the actual definition of it, right? When you discriminate against somebody based on the color of their skin, which is exactly what Christina's doing. Just a reminder that white women are just as complicit in upholding and enforcing white supremacy. White women. Again. And there's a lot of things like this. Watching two white men discuss things they will never experience doesn't sit right with me. White men. This is a subject, not the subject for you to try and speak authoritatively in my comments. I said what I said. Again, let's just say she has a long history of grouping white people together and disparaging them. All right. And again, to be very clear, if you had said these same things about black people or any other race, right, it's not okay. So people pointed that out. If you're still participating in events where your flyer is all 100% white people, you're part of the problem. Don't just say, there are no black people represented here. Speak up. Many of my friends have the influence. Open your mouth and use it. This doesn't sound like somebody who's stable, and you don't get kudos for having one black person every 6 white people. Fill more seats. Well, in fact, the actual percentage, the demographic breakdown in this country is probably less than that. That's an actual representation of what you would see. Now, if I go to downtown Chicago, it'd be the other way around, right? But that is the actual, like the percentage of black people in America is probably 10 to 15%, which would be 1 in 5, 1 in 6, 1 in 5. So what Christina wants is an overrepresentation. White people will defend a fictional character before they stand up for black people. Just tons and tons of just vile anti-white people tweets. And again, she's in a privileged position here to disparage an entire race of people because it's Twitter, right? So that gets called out. People start asking about it. And if you look at the replies, Star Wars is getting destroyed in their own comment section. Here's a tweet by me. She seems all about hope and inclusivity. Shrink John Boyega on posters. Cut John Boyega. Roll down. Change what she said to black, Jewish, or any other word than white. See what the reaction would be then. Interesting how you stood on John Boyega's back, erasing him so you could sell more tickets in China. Here's Nerdrotic. I don't think so, by the way. When is your fin shrinking action figure going to be available? And now Andy Signor says, never heard of Christina, but I'm confused where your tweet of support of Gina Carano was. She's been endlessly bullied for things she's never even said. Stop picking favorites and be truly inclusive by supporting all talent equally, no matter who they vote for. I mean, right? Here's hundreds, thousands of tweets going after Gina Carano. And we've got actually a separate video about Gina because that whole situation is nuts. And ultimately, you get to this point now. Star Wars and Lucasfilm officially support calling all white people a terrible word. The official Star Wars account has thrown their support behind new hire Christina Ariel. I don't know if that's right, probably. And her declaration that all white people are bad. Earlier today, Bounding into Comics reported on a number of tweets by her in a new host of the Star Wars High Republic show where she called all white people a terrible word. I mean, is it exactly that? No, but it's pretty dang close, right? It's a level where you could make that argument, right? You could definitely make that argument. The official Star Wars Twitter account has now come out in support of Ariel's comments, declaring white people are racist. Again, this is a little over the top, but I mean, in general, it's pretty dang close. The account wrote our Star Wars, yeah, we already know. This is sad. Then, of course, Bounding into Comics gets targeted for false campaign and retaliation over a report on this behavior in Star Wars. The High Republic host, Christina Ariel. Here you see Jack Posobiec, Star Wars, The High Republic host Christina Ariel calls all white people. That ends up Jack Posobiec shares the bounding into comics. First of all, no, she didn't. Second of all, the same GGers. Oh, and she even, oh, it's Madeline Rowe. Of course it is. Go ahead and block bounding into comics if you haven't already. They're the ones trying to hate on Christina for daring to say that racism is bad. But that's not what they said. That's not what she said. Of course it's bad. If you don't agree with that, I don't know. There's probably no helping you. But that's not what she said. She grouped all white people together and disparaged them. Now, she's, again, from what I can see, hasn't bothered to correct or add any context to her statement. And this is really the sad part. These people are just awful, awful, awful humans. And they say terrible things. Now's the perfect time to report Jack Posobiec and Bounding into Comics for targeted harassment. What? Shut down Bounding into Comics, bombard their comment section, report them. I mean, why? Because they reported on literally exactly what this woman said. I don't know what else to tell you. She seems very, very, very uninclusive and has some troubling ideas. And it's sad that we live in this world that this kind of stuff gets rewarded. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll join one of my many, many communities where you can continue the conversation. Check this out. And all I want to do is remind you that I have a thriving Discord community I'd like you to join. I have a strong presence on Twitter Alternative Parlor. You can find me on Twitter. And you can join my subreddit. I'd love to see you on all 4 platforms. Links are in the description of this video. You can also support the channel by clicking that join button down below, becoming a member here on YouTube, or signing up at my Subscribe Star, which is also linked in the description below. Both forms of support go miles to support people like my wonderful editor, Sean. Or my wonderful thumbnail creator, Ben. You don't have to do these things or join these communities, but it would be neat if you did. Now let's get on with the video.